everyone, welcome back to Pages and Screens. I'm Erin and today we are going to be discussing Wonder by Palacio. I did not expect to enjoy this book as much as I did. I adored this story. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I actually cried quite a few times whilst reading this book because it was just so heartwarming and emotional and upsetting, but also really uplifting. It was one of those books that had so many different moments placing on the emotional scale, and I just absolutely loved this story. This book follows a young boy called August who has been homeschooled his entire life. The narrative picks up as he is enrolled in middle school for the first time, and now the reason why August was homeschooled is because he has facial deformities and he's been in and out of hospital his whole life. He is constantly stared at in public and judged by others, judged by children and adults alike, and he has to deal with this disability that he's got. I just loved this book. August was such a strong main character. He is 10 years old, but the amount of things that he has to deal with in this story is unbelievable, and he is so strong and resilient throughout all of it, and he constantly maintains a feeling of optimism and hope for the future, and I just absolutely loved that about his character. No matter how many hardships he faced, he always stayed strong, and I had so much respect for his character. So that's pretty much all I can tell you guys about this book for the non-spoilery section. So if you haven't read this book, please do not continue watching now because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. And also just know that I highly recommend this book. It was so worth the read. It's very, very short. It's about 300 pages long, if not less. I flew through it. I think I read this in about a day. Obviously, this book has strong emphasis on disability and the fact that August does have a facial deformity. I loved this element of the book. I think it was handled so delicately and respectfully as well. I have not read a lot of literature that contains disability and representation for people that have special needs. The author did a fantastic job of depicting what it's like to be family members of someone with a disability. I loved how August's sister, Olivia, handled people judging her brother and things like that. I thought it was so true to life. She does make some questionable choices in the book, like when she doesn't want August to go to the school play, she doesn't want the high school to know that she has a brother with a deformity. I could understand where she was coming from with wanting to be her own person rather than the sister of someone with a disability. I got to see from so many different points of view in this book, and I really, really enjoyed that. It was so nice to see how different people were reacting to August and what they thought of him. I think when you have different points of view in a book, it adds so much more depth and scope to the story, and that's exactly what this book did. So, as I said earlier, August was such a fantastic main character, but he wasn't the only character in this book that I loved. I adored the character development of so many of these characters. I think this author was fantastic at writing realistic characters. I loved Summer. She was one of my favourite characters in the book. She was so understanding and empathetic towards August, and she did not treat him differently at all. I loved the initial meeting with Summer and August on the first day of school, how she just sat down with him. She didn't think anything about it. She didn't judge him, she didn't think about his face, she just saw him as August, not the kid with a facial deformity. I also enjoyed the character Jack a lot. Jack was a really interesting character because his character arc was very, very interesting, because we obviously start out with him being the kid that's expected to be friends with August. He's kind of a good boy at school, he's smart, he's charismatic, he's popular, so he's asked by the head teacher to look after August at the start of the year, but we don't get the sense that his friendship with August is sincere. And then obviously Halloween happens, and oh my god, that Halloween moment broke my heart so badly. I hated the Halloween chapter. That honestly broke my heart. Julian was such a dickhead. I hated Julian. What an awful, awful person. It was so brilliant how the topic of parents versus children was dealt in this book. The whole concept of how you were brought up affects the person you become is something that I find so interesting in books. Julian's parents were awful people. They were despicable human beings. How dare they treat a 10-year-old boy the way that they treated August? I thought it was absolutely disgusting how they took him out of the school picture because he was ugly or he looked different. I have never felt that angry at people in a book before. I was so furious reading that. It was awful. Jack, obviously, following the Halloween incident, realising that he made a mistake, how he just went along with the bullying of August. He realises his mistakes and he does apologise for it. And I think he learnt a lot from that experience, and from that point on, him and August are good friends, and I really enjoyed their relationship following the resolve of that situation. I thought it was such a cute friendship, and I loved how Jack, Summer and August really became really good friends and they become a really close-knit unit. I felt so happy for August, like, come the end of this book. He made so many friends. When they go camping is very, very bittersweet because we have this situation where August is bullied in the forest by those two older boys, and he loses his hearing aid and it gets broken, and that was awful to read about how they tried to, you know, they basically like verbally and physically tried to attack August, and it was horrible. But I was really happy that out of that situation came the banding together of the boys that had kind of bullied August in the past a little bit, and August. I loved how they banded together, and you kind of realised that although they were making fun of August and kind of bullying him throughout the course of the book and the school year, they actually did care for August to some extent, and they did care about what happened to him, and I loved how they stood up for him and they protected him in that chapter. Although kids make mistakes and they can follow the crowd and do the wrong thing at times, I think everyone's learning at that age. People eventually do come to the realisation that bullying is wrong and ridiculing people is wrong, and I think it was really, really nice to read about their development, and it made me so happy to think that August has, you know, he succeeded. He managed to go to middle school, he made friends, he made some great memories, and I really wish we got a follow-up book because this book ended on such a happy note with August winning the prize for special achievements at the school. Oh my god. That scene and Mr. Tushner's speech, I was crying during that because it was just so emotional seeing August's growth throughout this book, and I was just so proud of August and how he had really stood up to adversity. This book just, it made me feel so many different emotions. I felt angry and sad and happy and proud, and I just loved it. I thought that for a book so short to make me feel that strongly about characters is such an achievement, and I was so impressed by this book. I might even go as far to say that it was one of my favourite books of the year so far. It definitely will place in my top 10, I think. I enjoyed it so much. So that's it for my review of Wonder. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!